Hey everybody, Tony Schumacher out here at Houston, Texas. 6th race of the year, and throughout the week we've been taking questions from our Gormy Facebook fans and Twitter fans and followers, and like usual we're going to answer a few. Jason Smith asks, how much ignition timing do you run in a top fueler? It changes, the timing map changes all the way down the track, but generally speaking at the hit of the throttle we're at 56 to 58 degrees. Unless you're our competition and you're watching this, then we leave the start line at 12 degrees ignition timing. It's a little sarcasm there, but some of the questions we answer we don't really want to give everybody. You know, Lisa Gustafson, my buddy, says, of all your wins, which one is the most memorable and why? Man, there's been so many great ones. You know, in 06 having set the world record, that will go down always as the best just because it was so huge. Had to set a world record on the same run. It was the last run of the year, had to win. Was running my teammate, and you know, if we didn't have to set the world record, people would have said that Melanie just let us win. But the fact that we had to set a world record really took it out of the team's hands. It made it very special. It was an awesome win. Stan Brown asked, what is the most important part of the race pack data? Drive shaft speed. When you give a gas, you know, following the drive shaft all the way down will let us know if we're spinning the tires, if we're too stuck to the racetrack. It's a really good question. Daniel Francis asked, what happens to your junk blocks and heads if they can't be repaired? Do they get remelted and cast as new billet blanks? Almost always we can sell our stuff. Someone will buy it, someone will fix it. Some of the teams with a little less budget will run it. You know, you can basically repair them. If we blow them in half, we'll melt them down, but it doesn't happen that often. Michelle Coker-Simmons asks, if a car explodes on the track, is there any part that can't be fixed if damaged with all the extra parts on site? Many times could the crew rebuild a whole car or damaged parts? Well, like we saw last week with Hagen, you're not going to fix that body. A lot of damage done there. You know, wiring harnesses are burned off, but the majority of the time we can fix it. The crew is going to replace it. Even on a perfect run, the pistons come out and all the parts and pieces get replaced, not fixed yet. They get taken back to the shop, they get evaluated, mic'd, and fueler gauged, and all the stuff we can do, whether it's on site or back at the shop, measured. You know, the rods are measured for stretching and all that. It's all put back in, but we replace them immediately, so that there's nothing that we can't fix. There will never be a situation where you know, a car is blown up or crashed and we can't take a spare out. Unless, I guess the only situation would be if you crash 2 or 3, you can only replace 1 during qualifying. You know, there's a couple of rules out there, but the majority of the time we have enough parts and pieces to fix anything. And believe it or not, if we don't, another one of our teams or another team we race against will always offer up help. Nobody wants to win by way of default, the car not showing up. We'd much rather share the equipment we have. You know, it's a pretty small family out here, so we'll give parts and pieces. And guys, you know, when you see one of the cars having to do extensive repair work, you'll see other teams. It might not even be a DSR team. You'll see other guys come over to help out, because especially if it's a low budget team, everyone's going to go help them, because you want them to get back. They don't have the parts pieces or the manpower to make it work, so we'll send some of our guys over to help out. Almost everybody will do that. I think that's the last question, actually. Good. We'll look for posts on the GoArmy Facebook wall at facebook.com/GoArmy, or follow us at on Twitter at Army Racing to find out how to submit your questions each race weekend. Myself and Ryan Newman, we love doing this. We'll be doing it again next week in Atlanta on the NHRA side, and we'll try to answer your questions. So, and I did read last week on Facebook that some questions were submitted that we didn't answer. There's just not enough time to answer them all. We will do our best to try to recycle some of those questions and get them out there. Some of them are great, and we want to answer them. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you next week.